Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today, Bava Metzia daf Pei Aleph. We are going to begin on the bottom of Pei Amid Beis, about 6 lines from the bottom. Akun she'amru tol eshulcha v'havi ma'ois shemerchinam. So, in the event that the uman, which we were discussing in the beginning of this Mishnah, he's considered to be a shemer sachar. He's considered to be a paid watchman, which means that he's going to be chayiv for gneva v'aveda. And in the event where he would have said that you should take that which is yours, because as Rashi said on the Mishnah, shekavar gamarti, I've already completed the task of what I was supposed to do as an uman, umishetaytzienu, and from when you take it out, havi mois, then give me your money, shenim akvoi l'toiso al sachari, I'm not going to hold it back because of the money. Harihu ma'ata shemerchinam. In other words, you can take your item and then afterwards you'll pay me. So I'm not saying that I'm going to hold on to this until you pay me, but you could take the item and then pay me afterwards. So the din is he's considered to be a shemerchinam. So on this, the Gemara says, Tanan Hasan, Amrulo, if you Amrulo shoyel shalach, if let's say he says shalach, send it to me, Visholcha, and he sends it umesa, and it dies, so chayiv. In that case, the borrower is going to be chayiv. So let's look in Rashi. So what happened over here is Visholcha kedarka, that it was sent in the proper way, before it actually entered into the person's house. So chayiv oinsin. The borrower is chayiv for any accident that happens on the road. From the time it was given over to the shliach, b'mitzvahs hashayil, based on the commandment of the borrower, because the borrower said, "Send it to me," and it was sent. So nischayiv hashayil bo'in seha. So even though the borrower never actually got it, but once the borrower said, "I want you to send this item to me," so then as soon as it was accepted, and a shliach is in transit and something happened to the animal, so then the shoyel is going to be chayiv. If let's say the shoyel, the borrower, did not say send it to me, el hamashal sholchala, just that the lender just sent it, kisharmulo zahashileni porascha, or said, could I borrow your animal? He said yes, but he didn't. Afterwards, the borrower didn't say send it to me. But amad b'shalcha meisa b'derech pater. So that is the distinction. It's davka in a situation where the shoyel uses the language of shlach, send it to me. At that time, he's going to already be chayiv in all oinsim. And our focus is going to be the next few words. Back in the Gemara, b'chein b'shah shemach zira. So too when it comes to the time in which the item is being returned. Says Rashi, im masr hashoyel liyad hashliach. If the borrower gives it to the shliach after he already used it, l'ashiva l'malo, he wants him to bring it back. V'loy oimer hamashil sholchali biyad ploini, but the mashil, the lender, never said that you should give it to me, and then it died, so chayiv. In this situation, deloy kamer b'rshus the mashil, even though the shoyel no longer has it, but since the mashil didn't use the language of shalach, so therefore the shoyel, the borrower, will still be chayiv. Okay. Amar from Bar Papa and Rav Ches. So lo shanu. The only time we say that the borrower is chayiv until it actually gets into the hands of the mashal, until it's actually completely returned to him, is ella shechzir b'soichimei she'ilata. If it was being sent during the time of the borrowing, there was a stipulation of how long it was going to be borrowed, and then during that time frame, it was being returned. So in that situation, the shoyel still has control over it, and therefore he's chayiv. However, if the time has elapsed, the amount of time in which he was supposed to borrow it, and then only afterwards he sent it, so then as soon as it's sent out, the shoyel will be potter, even though the mashal didn't say shlach. Okay. Meisiv Rav Nachman Bar Papa. So Rav Nachman Bar Papa has a kasha on this. V'kol she'amru toyle shalcha v'havi mois shemerchinam. We said, when it comes to the case of an uman, when he says this language that just, I finished working with this thing, take it, and then afterwards pay me. So the Uman, even though he was a Shemer Sachar, he's now downgraded to the level of a Shemer Chinam. And Rashi says, "Time of the Goli Daite, she'enu chafetz lios od Shemer leha." He's basically saying, I don't want this anymore, and therefore, even if you don't pay me right now, just take it. And that's the reason why he's been downgraded, no longer as a Shemer Sachar, but to a Shemer Chinam, as we continue to pay Alpha and Alpha. However, what can we possibly deduce? Ha Gamartiv Shemer Sachar. If he only said, I'm finished, and that's all he said, nothing more, he would be still considered to be a Shemer Sachar. And says Rashi, V'lo Amrina, and we don't say the Kivan Shiyadu Habalim Shekol Yemehu Umnois, even though he finished up his time of working it, similar to he finished the day of the days of borrowing it, V'lo Shalchu V'aviyim Pater HaShomer. We don't say that the Shomer is Pater, and we say that he's a Shomer, he's maybe still a Shomer Sachar. So that's the question. If a Gabi Hashel Nami, so too when it comes to a borrower, Afagav Shiyadu Habalim Shekol Yimei Hasheila Shoyelhu. Even though the days have completed, we would still say that the Shoyel should be Chayiv, just like the Uman is still going to be Chayiv. Well, Ha Havi Mois V'Tola Shulcha Shemer Sachar. If he said, pay me first, and then, the whole diak is this, that if he says, give me the money, and then you can take it, then he's still a Shemer Sachar. Of a Gamartiv, but if all he said was, I'm finished, my Shemer Chinam. So therefore, really, this middle ground of Gamartiv is not so clear based on the language of the Mishnah. So why did we say the case that if the Uman says that you should first take it and then give me the money afterwards that you're a Shemer Chinam, Nashmi'inan, why don't you tell me the case of Gamartiv, that in that situation of Gamartiv, he's still considered to be a Shemer Chinam, even though he didn't say anything. So that would be a bigger chiddush to mention Gamartiv. So it must be why? It must be because it's Daf Gamatol Shulcha, but by Gamartiv maybe Tak is a Shemer Sachar. Now Tol Shulcha Tzrichle. We need that case. You would think that in this case he's not just downgraded from a Shemer Sachar to a Shemer Chinam. You would think maybe he's not even in din of a Shemer Chinam at all, because he's saying I don't want the Shmira. So Kamash Mon, the whole chiddush is that he's at least a Shemer Chinam. We actually have proof from our Mishnah. If the Uman says, take it, Shemer Chinam. So my love, who I didn't Gamartiv. Also in the case where if all he did was say, I'm finished. Well, Tol Shulcha shiny. That if he says it this language, it's different, since he doesn't want to be a Shomer anymore. So therefore, maybe in that situation, he's a Shomer Chinam. Mashin came by Gamartiv, maybe he's still a Shemer Sachar. Okay. Huna Mar Bar Maremark Kemed Ravina Rami Masnisa Adadi. So he actually asked the stira in the sugyas to one another. Umashani answered it. So what's the stira? Tanan. When the case where the Uman says that you should just take it, then he's a downgrade to a Shemer Chinam. But who adin legamartiv. Also, when it comes to if all he said was finished, also in that case he's a Shemer Chinam. Minhu fact Gemara Amar Lo Shoyel. If the Shoyel says Shalach, if he says that you should send it to me, Vishalcha, and the Mashil sends it, and it dies, Umesan dies in transit, even though it did not yet get to the Shoyel's hands, Chayav, the Shoyel still Chayav for it. V'chein b'shasha machzira, so too when it is returned, that it belongs to the Shoyel the entire time, and it belongs to the Shoyel. But that is only that it belongs to the Shoyel. The Shoyel's responsible if it was before it was the due date of the borrowing. When it's over, Potter, then he's completely Potter. Okay, so therefore again, that is the distinction. When we say that he's Potter, is it he's Potter from being the din of a Shoyel, Again, he's already completed the days of borrowing it, and he's returning it. So he says he's no longer chayiv like a shoyl. What does that mean? But is he the chayiv k'shomer sachar? Now, a shomer sachar is still chayiv g'nei v'aveda. Now, a shoyl is chayiv b'oinsin, but maybe he's still chayiv as through g'nei and v'aveda. O dilma shomer sachar nami lo havi. Maybe he's not even considered to be a shomer sachar either at this point, because the Mei She'ela, the days of borrowing it, have finished. So Amar Meimar Mistabra, it's logical that Patim Mishoyel, the Chayiv Kishomer Sachar, that he's been downgraded to a shomer sachar at least. Why? Why is he a shomer sachar? This borrower, Hoyel ben Nehena Mahana Hava, because this shomer did get hana from borrowing it. And therefore, because of that, that will help him enough that he's going to be on the status of a shomer sachar until it actually reaches the Baal's hands. So we actually have support to what a Meimar just said, that he at least has a status of shomer sachar. What do we see? A person who takes items from the house of a worker, and he's doing it to give gifts because he just got engaged. So he wants to give it to his wife's father, to her house, as gifts. The Amrlo, and he says to him, if you accept this from me, that I'm going to give you money. But if you don't accept it, then I'm only going to give according to the Toivas Hana, says Rashi, Shiachzikuli Toiva, that you did a nice thought, Shibikantim B'Sivoinais, that you wanted to give something. So Vinensu, Bahalicha, and let's say something happened while you were traveling. So Chayiv, says Rashi, Hoyel V'Katas D'Meyan, since you had a set amount of money, Umashkin L'Shem Akicha, it was like designated for the sake of him taking this. Harahim L'Kuchim Yadai. It's like he took it ad sheyed shein l'kucha until he doesn't want it. Bechazira, however, when it's returned, potter. So you potter from oinsin, mimnei shehu k'naisis sachar, because he has the status of a naisis sachar. So we see the same din, like a Meimar said, that the status changes to that of a shomer sachar. There's a story of a person, the Zavan Lecham L'Chavre, and he was selling wine to his friend. Amalei ka mamtinale l'duch deployni. I want you to be able to go through this particular place. Im is davna mutav v'lo mahadrole nahalich. If you do exactly as I say, good, and if not, then we should return it to you. So azol. Below is davna uvahadid ka'asa itness. So he didn't do as he was told, and on his way the wine got ruined. So also made Rav Nachman chayiv. So he ended up saying that you're going to be chayiv in this situation. So fine. So on this Esvei Rablo Rav Nachman. So he asked the kasha to Rav Nachman based on this psak. Rav Nachman said he's chayiv. It says nensu mahalicha chayiv. It says v'chazar potter neshu k'naisis sachar. It says beferish upon going back you're potter because you're a naisis sachar. So amalei chazar dehai halichahi. The chazar here is actually like going. My timer. Svarhu b'chaziraso ilu ashkach l'zvuni. If you would find someone to sell this wine, milu zavnu, when you sell it, so it doesn't matter which direction you're going. In this situation, it's not considered to be like chazara, and therefore, for that reason, you're going to be chayav. Shamli v'yeshmocha shomer sachar. So our Mishnah said that if you have two people that made an arrangement, they agree to act. And to basically that each one will watch each other's item so then it says you're a Sher Mesachar. So I'm going to watch your thing, you'll watch my thing, you're a Sher Mesachar. So on this, Gemara asks, why are you a Sher Mesachar and you're Chayiv B'Gneva Aveda? Yomai, Shmir B'Balim He. Since it's not, so the question is, you should talk to me Potter, because the din of being Shmir B'Balim, if there's, your Baal is present, says Rashi, Sh'afu B'Malachtan Hoya. So, l'chayr, you should be Potter. So it says that it actually depends. If it's at the same time, Taki would be Potter. However, in this situation, it's different, which is actually going to be question TA7, because you're right. If the guy is there while I'm watching it, then Shmir B'Balma should be Potter. But over here, the arrangement was, I'll watch yours today and you'll watch mine tomorrow. So if that's the situation, there's no Shmir B'Balim, and therefore that's the reason why it's a din Sher Mesachar. However, if we're both watching at the same time, you're right, Shmir B'Balim be Potter. Tanubam. Shamali v'eshmelcha. Again, I'll watch, you watch, Shamali v'eshmelcha. You watch my item, I'll watch your item. Hashileni v'ashilcha. I'll borrow your item, you'll borrow my item. Shamali v'ashilcha. I'll borrow something from you, and you'll watch my item. Hashileni v'eshmor lecha. So in this situation, it's not the same things that are happening, but they're both engaged in getting hana from one another. So kulan nasu Sher Mesachar zelazet. Same answer. Hanhu there were these merchants. The whole Yomi havi ape la chan minahu. There was always one person that would be involved in baking bread. That was the job. There was like a rotation. And Hahu Yoima, on a particular day, Armalei Lachaminai said to one of them, Zil Afilon, go and bake for us. Armalahu Nitruli Gulimoy. So he said, could you do me a favor and watch my garment while I do this baking? Ada Asa, while he was in the process of doing this, Pashaba, something happened. The Ignov and his coat got stolen. So I was going to Papa Chavinhu. So he said that they're chayiv because they were muchiyah to watch it, and they're chayiv for Gneva Aveda. So Amru le Rabban Rapapa Amai B'Shiba Bailam. He was baking for them. So it's B'Shiba Bailam. Rashi says B'Shiba Bailam She'afhu B'Malachtan Hoya. So in that situation, should be Potter. So Ichsif, so he was embarrassed, I guess, because he made this psak of saying chayiv. He realized at that time they were busy drinking beer. Whenever you have a story over a papa, beer isn't too far away. In other words, he wasn't really working for them at the time, but was drinking, so it wasn't considered to be like a case of Shmir B'Balim. Okay. Says Rashi, he wasn't baking yet. At the time in which they were shaimrim, therefore, he didn't give himself over to do this malacha. However, says Rashi, if he was involved immediately, and he was baking, only after they drank beer, of the talis, when the talis got lost, then pshia b'balam navi havi, there would be a pshia b'balam hoyel knasu shaymim hoya b'malachtan. Okay. Weiter. I can understand if you hold pshia b'balam your potter mishum hachi yichsev. That's why he was embarrassed. He said he was chayiv. So what's the difference? It's a machlokas that pshia b'balam is potter chayiv. Elahu yoyma lavdi day havi. It was actually not his day for baking. He was not on the normal rotation. Yermali didi zil afilon at Go and you bake for us. So he said, listen, this is not really my day. So since it wasn't the day for me to bake bread, I want you to, while I'm baking bread, to watch my items. So therefore you're getting hana. So therefore they take upon themselves the status as a shomer sachar as we continue to pay off on the base. And he said, "Adi also igniv," and then again it got stolen without any pshia. So why are they chayiv? It's chayiv not because it was a pshia. There was not because it was pshia, but it was because of geneva aveda, and therefore it's a shomer sachar is chayiv geneva aveda. Also, Kamei Rav Papa Chayvinhu. So Emily Rabbon Rav Papa Hashmir Babalim he. So Ichsav he was embarrassed because apparently that means you're potter. Sofi Gali Milsa that he shaita Shircha Havi Shasti, he was drinking wine. Right. Hanu Beitrei the Havika Maskub Orcha. So these two people that were traveling on the road, Chad Orech v'Chad Gutza. One long, one short. Aricha Rachel Chamra Bahavile Sedina. The one who was going like the long way was riding a donkey, and Bahavile Sedina, and it had, says Rashi, there was a sheet of pishton. It says Rashi, Ein mayim chabdin oisin kol kach, and water doesn't clean it so well. Gutza, the short one, michse sarbala, he was wearing a woolen coat. V'kamaski bikare, and he was going by foot. Kimato Naharo, when he got to the river, Shakli was Sarbale, so he took his woolen coat, this guy was walking, the Oisve'eluhi Chamra, and he put it on the donkey, Vishakle, Sidine, and the short guy took the Sidin, which belonged to the other guy. So basically they swapped garments, because the idea was, as Rashi said, that the Sarbala, let's see it again, the Sedina, Ein Mayim Chabdin Oisukol Kach. So he didn't want the Sedina, this sheet, to get wet, so he took it, and the Sarbala he put on the donkey. It says Rashi, V'hushel Tzeretz wool, V'harbi Mayim Nivloyim Bo, a lot of water could get absorbed, Umachbidin oisa. Lefikach pasha hasar. Okay. Hahu v'shakle l'sedine. Dahu v'ichse be, and he covered himself with it. Shatfu hamaya l'sedine. And what had happened was water came and it caused the linen garment to get lost. Askme to Rabbi Chayve. So he was chayiv for this garment that he lost. So Amarli Rabbanu Rebbe Amai Sheilu Babalim he. So why should he be chayiv at Sheilu Babalim? It's like he borrowed it in the presence of the Baal. He should be potter. So Ichsef, he was embarrassed for saying he was chayiv. Milsa Dibuloi Daite Shakli. He actually didn't take with his consent. Dibuloi Daite Oisve. And again, he didn't put it on him with his consent. So it's not Shmir B'Mayilim. So therefore, he's not considered like a shoyal because he did it without his consent. There was a person who rented out a donkey to his friend. It's a pretty famous Gemara. Whatever you do, don't take my donkey through Nahar Pakoid, the Ikamaya, because there's water there. Zil B'orcha de Nerash. You should go this different route to Lake Amai because there's no water and it's safe for my animal. Also B'orcha Nahar Pakoid. So he went on the road of Nahar Pakoid, which he was told not to. Umei Schamra, and the animal died. Kiyasa Amr in, he said yes. I know I went against your words that I went through Nahar Pakoid. However, Mihu Lake Amaya, there was no water there. So Amalei Rabba Mailu Shaker. Why would this guy have to lie? No, he could have gotten away with it anyway. He could have just lied and said he went there. So Amalei Abaya Mailu Sheker B'makam Eidim Amrinan. Amalu Sheker, in the place of witnesses we do not say. So why is this considered to be b'makom edim? Says Rashi, because we know that this place, there's an sahadi that this place had water. Therefore, he's not going to be believed. Question 12. Let's actually, before we get to question 12, let's see the other questions. Question 10b. Shoyel shemasu yad shliach. A borrower gives over to a shliach, l'hashiv l'baalim, to return it back to the baal. V'lo amru hamashal l'shliach. But he doesn't say, the mashal didn't say to send it. Ma'adin b'gnei ba'aveda. So he said that the shoyel is going to be, chayiv for Gnei Ba'aveda on the road. Question 11. Hashaleni v'ashalacha him chayiv b'oinsin u'madua. So he's going to be, it says, Potter from oinsin shein kol hana shaloi she'af hu mashiloi. So this actually, l'chayra, and this is a little bit difficult, is when he said Hashaleni v'ashalacha, which we saw on Pei Alf Amud Aleph. Let's find this. So we said that it depends on whether or not he's going to actually be chayiv or potter, whether it's shmir b'baalim, if it was shemali hayom or shmachal machar. Okay. Fine. Question 12. Hahu garved oiger chamel chavre. He went the donkey. V'loi. He said, don't go to Nahar Pekoi. There's water there. He says, yeah, I went there, but there's no water. So according to one Rabbi says that he has a migu of a malus shaker. Abai says you're chayiv because it's a migu b'makam edim, because there certainly was water there. Okay, let's keep on going. Back to the two dots. Shamali v'amrli v'yamru hanach lefanei shamachinam. So our Mishnah said that if you approach someone in the shuk and you asked him, Shamali, guard this item, guard a particular item. The Armalei, and he says, Hanach lefanai, and he says, just put it down before me, lefanai, put it down before me, so he has the status of a shomer chinam. Okay, so we're going to understand the diak of that language of the Mishnah. Says the Gemara, Shamali v'Armalei hanach lefanai shomer chinam. Instead he just said the language, this guy in the shuk put it in front of you. He's not even a shomer chinam. It's nothing. So So we say, if he says lefanai, he's a shomer chinam. If he said lefanecha, he's not even a shomer chinam. So iboilu. Hanach stama mai. What if the guy just from the shuk just said, just put it down? He doesn't say lefanai even. So Tashma Shamali v'Yarmel Hanach lefanai shomer chinam, which is mashma hastama v'loy klum. It's mashma if he didn't say anything, it's nothing. It's not even shomer chinam. No, Adarab won't care. He says in the case where you said lefanecha, he's not a shomer chinam, which is mashma hastama shomer chinam havi. So for our Mishnah, you really can't see either way. So let's say the din of this person from the shuk, who all he does is say hanach stam, there's actually machlokas tanaim what the din is. How do we see this? Because the Gemara says as follows in Bava Kama. Im hichnas b'rshus bal chatzer chayim. What is this talking about? So Rashi quotes the following case. You have a kador, a potter, shehichnas k'deroisav, that he brings in his potteries, his items, into a person's chatzer, v'shavran shoyer shel bal bayis, and the bal bayis's ox breaks his kalim. Oh, hichnas shoyroi, the guy brings his ox into someone's chatzer, v'nachli shoyer shel bal bayis, and the bal bayis gores the person's ox. Oh, shehichnas peiroisav achlan behemtoi, the guy brings his fruits into someone else's chatzer, and his animal eats them. So what's the status? So, im hichnas b'rshus, if let's say he was given permission to bring these items in, then bal chatzer chayev, because if any damages happen, he can say, listen, you said I should bring it in, which implied that you're going to guard these items from being destroyed, and therefore the fact that you didn't, you're going to be chayev. Rabbi Omer b'kulam enu chayev ad shikabel bal habayis lishmor. It's only when the Baal Bayis actually says that I'm going to guard it. But Stam, if he didn't say anything, not. So maybe this is this area where it's Stam, it wasn't really specified, so therefore it's a Machlokas Tanaim, similar to a situation where a person from the Shuk would just say, put it down, but he just says it's Stam. So Mamai, Dilman Kana Kama Rabbanon Hasam, maybe the time the Rabbanon say this din that when a person brings these items into someone else's chatzir, that the Baal Chatzir's chayev, if it was entered Rishos, is El B'chatzir Bas Neturihi, is because a chatzir is something that is protected anyway. Says Rashi, She'ein Adam Machnas Davar Tocha El Ishtamer Bo. The whole purpose of bringing something to a chatzir is so it should be protected. Din Tarich B'mishmarasa. It's not hard to protect it because it's secluded inside of this area. And therefore, when he said bring it in, Ayel de interlach kaimerle, he was saying that you should watch it, not me. You should watch the item. Abulhacha shuka labar naturihu. But over here, he went to the shuk, a marketplace, in the middle of the place, and he told him to put it down. So that's not a place where it's protected. So anach vativ, when he puts it down, natolach karmele, he's saying, I will protect it. So in other words, by the Baal Chatzir, Stam, maybe the din is that because it's a protected area, so he could say, listen, you bring it in, it's your responsibility. However, in a shuk, if this guy said put it down, it's mastama that when he said I'll put it down is I'm going to protect it. Inam yad kan loy karma Rabbi Hasam el b'chatzero. Maybe it's only by a chatzir does Rabbi say his din. In order to be able to bring something into his rishus, you need permission. Maybe the idea is that when he gives you permission, it means that you should watch it. However, when it comes to the shuk, he probably means that I'm going to watch it. If that's what he meant, so then why does he need permission to put it down? It clearly was meant that he'll watch it for you as well. Because when it comes to going into my house, so I'm giving you permission because you can't just walk into my chutzner. So the fact that you're going into my chutzner is me giving you permission. Therefore, maybe that's all I'm giving you, but I'm not watching it. Mashenkin, when it comes to a shuk in the marketplace, the guy says put it down. Of course you can put it down. Why you need to tell him put it down? Doesn't need permission to put it down. It's a marketplace. It's not your rishus, and therefore the fact that you tell him to put it down, it's not just to tell him to put it down. It must be that it should also be watched. Okay, we're going to stop here. Let's see, maybe another question, maybe. Okay, let's see. Question TB8. Ho gavra the oiger chamal chavim leilo tezel beorchanar pakoid. Okay. So machlokis imish migu mal sheker v'hu neman o dilma zemigu b'makam edim mipnei sheesh anan sahadi sheesh mayim sham v'hu eno neman. Adkan.